Alright. Good evening, afternoon, morning, everyone. Welcome back to BRL. We are on now round 8. For today we have the Texas Sprint Race. So on the board right now we already have the lineup for the sprint race to start us off. We're going to be starting with Huntilla starting pole, Nur starting in second with Sof in third. San is going to be in fourth with Luke in fifth. Sheepers in sixth. Nico's going to be starting in seventh. Harinator in eighth. BGR in ninth. We're going to have Melv in 10th with Baz in 11th. Jimmy in 12th with Resurrection in 13th. Robsu in 14th. Braden 15th. 8-Bit in 16th. Hugo in 17th, and then we have 3 open seats, one for Merck, one for Williams, one for Red Bull. Now, a few of those seats have been taken. Let me just double check. So, for Williams, their open seat has been taken by none other than Characteristics, the Tier 1 commentator, who is taking today to race in Tier 2. As far as Mercedes and Red Bull go, their seats are still open, so those two will not be racing. So we have, I think it's 18 we have on the grid right now. I don't think everyone's in the lobby yet, we're still waiting on that. But yeah, this should be a good old sprint race. So for those of you who don't know how the sprint race works, remember, so we take the driver standings and essentially flip them around. That's the starting grid. Any reserves will come in at the bottom, as well as open seats. And then the sprint race will determine the grid layout for the main race. So, before we move on, let's head and take a look at our current driver standings. So, as of now, we currently have Robsu still sitting in a comfortable first place at 152. With Resurrection in second on 134. Jimmy is going to be sitting in third once again on 111. Baz is in fourth with 104. Melv in fifth on 94. BGR is in sixth on 64. Harinator is in seventh on 60. Nico is going to be in eighth on 55. Aero in ninth on 52. Sheepers in 10th on 50. Gia in 11th on 44. FCRL Luke in 12th on 37. Alex in 13th on 29. Sun in 14th on 25. Sof is in 15th on 23. FML in 16th on 20. JR at 26 and 17th on 20. Ara in 18th on 18, Daedric in 19th on 16, and Annie House in 20th on 14. Now we're going to check a look at our constructor standings. Currently have Mercedes on top on 186, AlphaTauri in second on 180, Williams in third on 151, Ferrari fourth in 150, Haas fifth 107, Alpine 6th, 104, Aston 7th, 97, 8th is Red Bull on 77, Alfa Romeo 9th on 72, and McLaren in 10th on 55. Alright, we are going to quickly transition over to the gameplay now because the sprint race is getting ready to start. So for the sprint race is a 10-lap race. Winner will take pole position in the actual race, and the grid is inverted from the standings. It's looking like a very promising one today, especially with some of the people flipped over in the way that they are. We're sure to see some great quality racing in both the sprint and the actual Grand Prix for today. And we're nice to see some movement in the grid as well. Now that we have some of the more competitive drivers towards the back, they're going to have to be able to fight their way back up to the top. Alright, off we go. It's lights out and off we go. Huntilla starting off strong with a good start. We've got Nerf back right behind him for Alpine. With Luke not too far behind in a third. San sitting in fourth. Nico in fifth. Oh, a lot of movement already with San moving up to second and Nico up to third. Luke to fourth. Effect down to fifth. She was in sixth. Got soft moving at the grid towards the rear. So slight contact around the back of the grid there. So we've got Harinator moving his way up to sixth on the grid. Someone moving towards the back of the grid as Resurrection and Robsu are fighting their way. Oh, slight contact there as they come out. Oh, straight off the track. Not great for the AlphaTauri driver there. Got Jimmy and Carter both moving their way up the grid. Got Nico now up to second place on the top of the grid, with Mel managing to make his way up for Alpine. McLaren's making their way up. Oh, Robsu is now fighting his way back up to the grid as well. Carter, substituting in for Williams, is making his way up. Slight slide on that turn there. Got Jimmy down to 14th. BGR has fallen down to 16th. Huntilla still leading the pack, with San not too far behind on a 1-9 interval. Nerfback manages to make his way back up. Is now Harinator right coming up beside him as they come around into turn 1. Harinator managing to take that position, with Sheepers in the Aston managing to make it past as well. Nico fall down to 7th in the Red Bull. Got San holding a nice comfortable second, with Huntilla holding that comfortable first place. Nico back in 6th. Slight contact with the drivers there coming off the track. Got the McLarens going at it with Hua and Sof. Oh my lord! Got Nico spinning out there. Nico was the spin. We've got the Scurriers in 14th and 15th. With Baz looking to make that move to get past his teammate. BGR managed to make some ground, as well as Carter and Resurrection. Back up to the top of the grid, we've got San. Ooh! Slight contact with Luke there as the AlphaTauri is trying to get past in that gap. AlphaTauri is going at it with that green Aston right there. Until they're still in first with a decent lead, with Luke managing to sneak past the Aston. Carter still making his way up the grid as well, up to 8th. Now with Melvin 7th. Got Hugo in the McLaren managing to make it up to 6th. DRS is now enabled. With Luke now trying to close that gap to Huntilla. Got BGR managed to make his way back to the grid as well. He's going to be trying to make it up to his teammate. Robso as well, fighting his way up the grid. Has now got a 2... Oh no, he's got a 0.4 second gap between him and Carter. Carter looking to try and close that gap to Melv, currently on a 2.5, with Melv managing to get past the McLaren just ahead. Harinator managing to sneak his way up to 3rd. Sheepers not too far behind, however. The Aston is going to be looking to regain that position. They come round in sector 3. Got the 2. Resurrection managed to fight his way up the grid as well. What a beautiful performance we are seeing from the drivers here today. Carter on 10th, looking for that opportunity to try and creep up to Resurrection. Will he be able to find it? They come around back onto the main street. So we have Huntilla holding a strong lead with Luke not too far behind, Harinator coming around as well. Oh, Huntilla's caught up to the back of the grid with 8-bit in 18th on the back. Goes off the track as he now gets lapped by the leaders. What a fantastic... Oh, we had AlphaTauri off the back. There was a Resurrection in the background going off the track. It's not his race in this sprint. We have Mel gaining that position to 5th. Shiba, oh, slight contact with Harinator there. It's now come around and back into... Oh, we've got Carter making ground as well. He makes it past BGR. We now have safety car on track. Driver's looking to keep that delta positive. Oh. Sad heading into pit. As well as Carter choosing to take the option to pit. Could be due to damage on the cars. Got 5 drivers in the pits, both the Williams, one of the Scuderias, a Red Bull and a Aston. It's a good pit stop there from Williams. Huntilla's now fallen down to 2nd, with Luke being in 1st behind the safety car. Oh, slight. Looks like he had a slight bit of contact with the AlphaTauri there. What an interesting one this is. On lap 5 of the sprint race, and we have a safety car. What an amazing performance we are seeing though. When that safety car goes in, all those drivers are going to go back at it now that they are grouping back together. We've got the 2 Alpha... Oh no, that's not 2 AlphaTauris. I am blind. That is a AlphaTauri and a Haas. With Huntilla in 2nd. Waiting on Sof and CDR to catch up to the group. Definitely looking promising for Resurrection and Robsu as they have managed to make their way back up the grid towards 7th and 8th. Now that the grid's looking close, now that the grid is close back together, they are going to be using that to their advantage in order to gain more positions. Got the safety car for another lap. A slight bit of movement with Baz and Sang going up. We've got Carter retiring from the session. That is Jimmy on Williams. how this goes as we come back around towards the end of the safety car. So, interesting one though for a safety car to come out this early on, especially on a sprint race. Luke keeping his tyres warm. Already realised that safety car is going to be in this lap. And there we have it, safety car is in this lap. Now got all the drivers bunching back together as they get that distance from the safety car. Oh dear, COTA. That's not a great way to end it off. Safety car is now in. They'll be coming back around onto the final straight. And that's the green, we are back to racing. Robsy already taken advantage, moving up one position. Oh, but the McLaren takes it back. Oh, with Resurrection now taking advantage. Oh, but he goes off the track trying to dive through that turn. We'll see now up to 6th. Would have been a fantastic move if it worked out, but it just didn't go his way. Now, without too much movement currently, is definitely going to change, but Nico now managed to sneak into that. Resurrection also managed to sneak his way back up into the 7th position. I'm looking to try and get past Robson as soon as he can. The McLaren behind him though is going to be looking to take that position back. He's also got the Alfa Romeo behind him to worry about. As well, coming up back from behind that Alfa Romeo. Poor Jimmy with another penalty. The Sheep has managed to make his way up to 2nd, passing Huntilla. Through the twisty Sector 1 into Sector 2. Resurrection managing to still make ground, no magic to make his way up to 5th past Robsy. What a performance today from him. Got Luke currently leading the pack, the AlphaTauri driver at the front of the group. With Hubris not too far behind in the Aston, and then Huntilla's still behind in the Alfa Romeo. Was previously leading until that safety car came through and sort of ruined it for him. No, as well up there in 4th in the Alpine. And Resurrection in his AlphaTauri in 5th. Oh! She was in the Aston, managed to squeeze past the AlphaTauri. With DRS now back enabled as we enter the final 2 laps of the sprint race. The AlphaTauri looking to try and get an position back, but he just doesn't have the room to get it. He's definitely going to be looking to take advantage of DRS now. Oh, Melv trying to put in some competition on Resurrection, but then Robsu takes it. Oh! Resurrection off the track down to 10th, 11th, 13th. Okay, here we have Jimmy, currently sitting behind Baz in 8th. It's actually quite a good performance today from the Williams driver. Definitely up close, trying to make it around the inside of that corner. And he secures that position with a little bit of contact from BGR there, but he's now up to 6th, passing both Melv and BGR. Then BGR managed to pass him again, pushing Jimmy down to 7th. Can Jimmy get it to switch back? He can indeed. Taking back that position, going up to 6th. Still got to try and catch up to that McLaren in front of him if he wants to make any ground, though. He's managed to close that gap to the McLaren. So I've got to find that spot just to get through. He opens up with DRS. Is he going to be able to take it? Dives around towards the inside line, but he just doesn't go for it. Oh! Tries to dive around the inside of the corner, just doesn't get it. Got Luke back in the lead of the sprint race. She was currently in 2nd with Huntilla in 3rd. Also in 4th in the Mercedes. Great climb from him today. You were in 5th in the McLaren with Jimmy right behind him. Jimmy has really been putting in a good performance today. Is he going to be able to gain that position as he comes down on the spines on this straight? Does he now come around towards the long straight? He's going to be able to use DRS to his advantage. As he comes now, opens up that rear wing. Is it going to be enough? Moves out. Takes the inside line and just gets past the McLaren there. Position gained for Jimmy and the Williams. Robsu now managing to move his way up to 3rd as well. It's quite a good lineup we are seeing right now. Sheep's in 10th and Luke in 1st on the final lap of the sprint race as we come round. Passing into the final turn. Round. Across the line we go, seeing Luke take the pole. Robson in 2nd, Luke in 3rd. Going to see the grid move around due to penalties, however. With you in 4th, Huntilla in 5th, Paz in 6th, Melv in 7th, CDR in 8th, BGR in 9th, Resurrection in 10th, Jimmy falling to 11th. And what a beautiful start to today's race. It's an absolutely amazing performance we saw just there. Bless me. Alright, so Sheep is going to be starting in pole position for the Grand Prix with Robsu in 2nd, FCR Luke in 3rd, Hugo is going to be taking 4th with Huntilla in 5th, Baz in 6th with Melv in 7th, Nerfback in 8th, BGR in 9th, Resurrection in 10th, Jimmy in 11th, San in 12th, Sulfur in 13th, Aronator in 14th, Dr. Braden in 15th, Nico in 16th, Carter in 17th, and David in 18th. That's the end of the sprint race, and now we move on to our actual Grand Prix for today. What a fantastic performance from the drivers there. And would you look at that, it's time for some inters. Not what we wanted for the race. So we're going wet today. No, look, it's going to be inters all race. That'll have to wait to be seen. Just wait for the drivers to get their setups and choices squared away. Saw some great racing there. Could have been a much better sprint race for Jimmy. The Williams driver managed to push all the way up to, what was it, P5? But with that 6-second penalty, got pushed on to P11. Alright. And it's lights out and away we go. We've got 8 already with a penalty for a jump start. Sheep is taken back in first with a bit of movement already. Baz moving to 5th with Nerf Pack moving up and then straight down. Hunter now making his way up. Sheep is falling down. Robsu trying to put in that battle. Into then 4th. Baz moving up to 4th. Ooh, there's a lot of movement within the grid already. Raider managed to make his way up as well as San. In the back, Nico as well moving his way up. San still making his way up with Harinator also making some grounds on BGR. Going to be looking at a possible full inter race for today. Got BGR in 12th with Carter in 13th. Carter's trying to find that gap. Can he just squeeze past the Alfa Romeo? It's possible. And position gained, but is he going to be able to hold it as the Alfa has the inside line? Oh, with soft going off the track. Carter managing to hold that position for now, up to 12th. Still with the Alfa Romeo close behind. Got more movement up towards the front of the grid as well, with Hugh moving to 4th, Baz in 5th, Robsu 2nd. Still with Sheepers leading the race in the Aston. Until then 6th, CR in 7th, Melv's in 8th as of now. Carter moving his way up to 11th, with Harinator in 10th. Dr. Braden's currently in 9th, with Melv in 8th. Got Luke in 3rd, he's definitely going to be looking to move up when he can. Sheep is still holding the top of the grid, with Robsu in 2nd. Oh, contact there with the AlphaTauri going up the rear of the Mercedes there. McLaren and the Scarlet Red Ferrari going at it, manages to just squeeze past. Nerpac currently in 7th as well. Got the 2 Alpines going at it as well right now. How they'll be able to hold up there. Teammates have got to work together on this. They can't try to overtake each other and then hinder each other. But then the driver championship is still up for grabs, even with Robson's strong lead. Resurrection are 2nd place currently in the driver standings on 14th right now. He's currently neck and neck with Nico in the Red Bull. Nico just manages to squeeze past him there. A slight battle between the two Alpines there as they come around on the very twisty Sector 3 of Texas. Until they're in 6th now. The Sheepers with a nice lead in the Aston. Robsu's still looking to close down that gap. Luke in 3rd as of now as well. Looking, oh, he goes off the track slightly there. And Baz that chance to get up to the side of him, but Baz trying to gain that position, and that's a position gained for the Ferrari. What a fantastic performance there. A Haas off the track as well. In Sector 2. Certainly some amazing performance we are seeing. Dr. Braden in 9th, currently behind the two Alpines. Two Alpines are still going at it. Nico, that's quite an early call to come into the pits. Got Mills now looking to challenge the Alfa Romeo. There was no battle at all there. The Alpine easily just got waved through by that Alfa. Oh, but then the Alfa Romeo is looking to get an position back. Melv manages to just squeeze through and hold it, however. With Nerfpack taking advantage as well and slipping past the Romeo there. Carter up to 9th. It's currently neck and neck with one of the Ferraris. But that was a nice position gain there. Is he going to be able to hold it, however, with that Ferrari right there behind him? And yet, that's a position gain for the Williams driver. Arrington moving his way up as well towards the rear of the track. Got caution Sector 1. Appears that one of the Haas, the one towards the back of the grid, has off track. It's now about to be lapped by the leaders, possibly. They come back into the fast and windy Sector 1. Rossi managing to gain that 1st place. They now come up towards the Haas that's on the back of the grid. It's unbelievable. Managing to make their way back up towards the back of the grid like that. As the Haas is now being lapped by the leaders. Luke down to 4th. He's going to be looking to make his way up to Baz, who's currently sitting in a nice 3rd. Sheepers in a nice 2nd, with Robsu taking the lead. Got some movement towards the bottom as well with Sandman to gain some ground on Dr. Braden and the Ferrari. We've got the 2nd Haas driver at the back as retired from the session. Safety car is now on track. I'm sure the driver is going to be happy about that. Safety car on track, drivers grouping up. Going to see a lot more people fighting to gain positions. Two Alpines still holding those 2 positions together. After they snuck past the Alfa Romeo there. With COTA now catching up to that Alfa Romeo, once that safety car goes in, he's going to be taking advantage of that. It's amazing to see. That little bit of hope Williams needs. Jimmy sitting in 13th, the other Williams driver. With that bunch up, he's going to be looking to take advantage to possibly squeeze past Resurrection. Resurrection being one of the top drivers in most races, however, that could be difficult for him. Especially also with San there behind him. You're going to need to think about him as well to defend. After Braden closing in now. I'm just waiting on Sof and Nico to close in with the group. Nico looks like he was a bit of a slidey time there. Be a lack of grip or downforce for him. He was the one who had the very early calls coming to the pits on lap 2, I believe. As I know, we've got Robsu holding the lead on the safety car, with Sheep in second and Baz in third, Luke in fourth and Hua in fifth, two Alpines in sixth and seventh, Santella in eighth, Carter and the Williams in ninth, Harinator in 10th, BGL in 11th, Resurrection sitting a nice 12th with Jimmy in, Braden heading into the pits there. Bit of a weird move. Slow down in the pit lane. Very early on. Now on lap 6, Nico managing to make up and gain some ground now, as the Ferrari with Braden has gone into the pits and is now on his way back out. The rest of the drivers bunched up together once again. Sure, we'll see some more movement once that safety car goes in, most likely this lap. Hopefully I can see some more movement once that safety car goes in. All the drivers now back together. Oh, whoops. Just need to drop something on my desk. The best conditions for this track, especially with that the twisty sector 1 and then the very tight sector 3. This is not like the most optimal conditions. A safety car in, green flag, we are back to racing. You're already off the track. Luke taking advantage, going around. Melf second and Nerfpack next. Oh, we got chaos there on turn 1. The driver's taking advantage. Oh, slight slide from COTA there. It's early on after safety car. Tyres are cold. It's not a great amount of grip there. We saw that absolute chaos on turn 1 there. Jimmy up to 10th, San up to 9th, BJ up to 8th, and COTA up to 7th. Got the two Alpines up to 3rd and 4th, with Robsu still holding that lead, and Sheep is in 2nd. We had Dr. Braden down in 14th, Baz has fallen down to 15th, Luke falling all the way down to the back of the grid in 17th. It's not a great turn of their COTA, still moving his way up the grid into 6th. Absolutely amazing performance from that Williams driver today. We're able to keep up. Is he going to be looking for that opportunity to get past that McLaren? He goes off the track. It's not great there. Another penalty for warnings. Those penalties are really going to add up to him. Sheep is now falling behind Mel in the Alpine, now making his way up. He's going to be looking to chase that Mercedes currently in the 1st place. She was currently sitting on 3rd now, with Nerfpack and the other Alpine in 4th. Cuts across the pit lane. Oh! Bit of corner cutting there. It's a late call out of the pits. Hua in 5th in the McLaren, with COTA in 6th behind him in the Williams. Antilla. Oh! The two Alfa Romeos going at it there as they come through turn 1. San is coming up behind the Alfa Romeos as well to challenge them in the Aston. With Jimmy not too far behind either in the Williams. Jimmy has been seeing some great performance moving to 3rd in the drive standings. One waiting to see if he can keep that up and push himself even further up the standings. It'll be a bit difficult though with Resurrection currently sitting on a 134, but even then. Resurrection is right behind Jimmy. He manages to gain that position on him across the main straight in sector 2. Nico is making some movements, trying to make that move on Jimmy. He's not going to be able to keep it, however. Dr. Braden not too far behind in the Ferrari either. Aranator making ground on Soft in the Haas. The penalties beginning to stack up on drivers here as well. Resurrection in 10th currently. It's not a bad result. Oh! Looked like he possibly had slight contact with Jimmy and Jimmy managed to spin him round. It's not good whatsoever. Got Nerfpack heading into the pits for a fresh set of enters, most likely. Maria making ground as well. It's amazing to see the moves that drivers are taking. They are taking those risks, even in the wet, to gain those positions. Got Robson, Melvin, Sheepers now moving to a small pack on their own in the front. With COTA up to 4th, he's going to be going to chase the Aston in 3rd right now. With a 5-second gap though, he's got to close that if he wants to have any chance of taking on that Aston Martin. And those time penalties are especially adding up on them. We take a current look. Currently for penalties, COTA's going to be sitting on a 6 second, BJ on a 3 second, San on a 3 second, Nico on a 3 second, Jimmy on a 3 second, Braden on a 9 second penalty. Then we're Soft on a 6 second, Luke in a 3 second, and Nerfpack on a 3 second. Now Nerfpack is out on the only driver to be out on a set of wets as well, instead of a set of inters. COTA doing an absolutely fantastic job out there today. Currently gained 13 positions on the grid. He's now slowly managing to start close that gap between him and the Aston in front. He's going to go chase down that Aston if he has to. The Aston, the Alpine and the Mercedes leading the race, now moving on to the long straight of Sector 2. Some movement with Braden and Jimmy towards the back as well. Nerfpack as well now, going to make his way up. He's trying to be gaining that position. He's going to look to chase down the Haas in front of him, but that gap is considerably large. The only driver out on full wet tyres right now. But Jimmy making some moves on Braden, trying to gain that position, but he just can't hold it as the Scuderia manages to get past him again. He manages to get a switch back as he comes around on the twisty Sector 3. Is he going to be able to defend against that Ferrari though? It's right there, and he just manages to get the turn in and defend against that Ferrari. Some amazing defense from Jimmy there. Resurrection is still climbing his way up the grid though. Is he going to be able to keep that position? It's a difficult one for sure, especially in these wet conditions. COTA still trying to make progress closing that gap, but it just isn't happening as fast as he needs. Oh, got one of the Romeos making contact with the McLaren there. BGR making contact with Viewer. Jimmy making position gains as well, passing Nico to take 8th. The Resurrection trying to follow suit to take 9th. And just gets it. What a performance there. One of the Romeo is currently making a move up to 5th on the McLaren. Amazing performance there. COTA still sitting comfortably in 4th. Nice gap behind him, but a not so good gap in front of him. He's going to be trying to get as close to that Aston as he can to try and make a move. Will he be able to get it? That is what we need to wait and see. Luke, yes you did. Your driver is on AI right now. Yes, Luke, you did DC. Your driver's on AI right now. And the Alpines towards the back going off the track. Resurrection as well, now sitting in 8th with Huntilla in 7th. COTA not managing to decrease that gap at all. He's still got that the Romeo behind him as well to watch out for. It's going to be difficult for him for sure. Got Robso as well looking to chase down Meld in the Alpine. The race is not going too bad for Mel in the Alpine currently, sitting in a nice first. Still got Robsu though, less than half a second behind him. Still got to be cautious about that. COTA sitting in a nice comfortable 4th, but he's still got that Romeo making ground behind him. Got Hero sitting in a nice 6th right now with Huntilla in 7th. Resurrection making his way up to 8th, passing Jimmy. Jimmy's on 9th right now, Nico in 10th, and Braden in 11th, Harinator in 12th. These are great performance as well. Nice. We've got the two. We got Baz passing Harinator, and now we've got the two Ferraris together in 11th and 12th. But Resurrection still managing to make some fantastic ground, even after that horrible spin on turn 1. AlphaTauri managing to make his way up. He chooses to pit lap 14. But BGR and the Romeo also choosing to pit. Let's have a look at some of our current stints. For most drivers on 13 lap old intermediates, with a couple on a few newer ones. A couple wets out as well, with San on a 4-lap old pair of wets, Soft on a 3-lap old set of wets, and Nerfpack picking up a fresh set of wet tyres. Absolutely amazing performance today. Mel really needs to worry about that gap, because the main issue he's going to have is his penalty of 3 seconds currently in effect, meaning he'd fall down to 2nd. Nice to see how this ends up. This top 3 is sitting quite comfortably now, with Shibas taking the call to pit. COTA staying out, he's going to be able to take advantage of that pit and gain that position. COTA up to 3rd. Sheepers is now on his way out onto the reservoir with Jimmy taking the call to pit. Wants to hold that third though. COTA has really got to chase down that Mercedes. On his current set of inters, he's going to be looking to pit soon. Robsu sitting in a nice second as well. Resurrection still making ground towards the back of the grid. The AlphaTauri currently sitting in second in the driver standings. Not had the best sprint race, but he's managing to make up for it. Until they're gaining ground on Jimmy there. And the Romeo passing the Williams. Seeing how the drives are going to go here. COTA now making the call to pit. Good stop from Williams there. It's down to 5th right now. Is he going to be able to beat the Alfa Romeo out? No, he is not. Managed to beat Resurrection out, however. Now he's got one of the more higher-end drivers to defend against. Resurrection sitting in second on the standings right now. COTA is going to need to look out for him. Melv sitting in a massively comfortable first place there. The 20-second gap between him and Sheepers. Robsu moving up to 3rd on the grid as well. Just depend. Got Mel making the call to go into the pits now. He needs to get that proper optimal pit stop. Good stop there from Alpine. Is he going to be able to get out in time to beat Sheepers out? Sheepers not coming around onto the straight. It's going to be a close one. He gets out and he floors it. Is he going to be able to beat him as Sheepers comes up on him towards turn 1? And he also got Robsu making ground there. Robsu's now behind the Alpine. Looking to go around on the outside, and he takes it around the outside, but he just can't hold it as the Alpine makes his way back into first. Coming round into the Sector 1 ends. Robsu really trying hard to gain that position on the Alpine. It's a difficult one for sure for the Alpine there. The Aston not too far behind, however, with the McLaren also 3 seconds behind. COTA now down to 6th. Resurrection in 7th. It's going to be closing that gap on COTA, definitely. And Jimmy up to 8th now. Got movement as well with the Romeo passing the McLaren there. McLaren managed to switch it back. Some great defense out there today as well. But Mel's now no longer being in such a comfortable lead. He might be looking to take those tyres out for the rest of the race to attempt to hold that position. It'll be the most sensible option. Carter's up to 4th, passing both the Romeo and the McLaren. So we're looking to chase down the Aston there. Slight movement with the Romeos there, but the AlphaTauri there, Resurrection will turn taking advantage, but he falls back down. Carter still managing to hold that position, with the McLaren choosing to pit. The AlphaTauri still closing that gap on the Romeo. But Williams there in 4th, managing to defend quite well against the Romeo there. Got the Aston there, kind of just in a world of his own. Not a driver behind him, one a bit further in front. Not too much for him to worry about out there. Got the Romeo and the AlphaTauri there managing to make some ground on the Williams. That's a great one for Carter there. Amazing performance from Resurrection though, especially considering that 4 he had during turn 1 after the safety car exit there. He's managing to make up that ground quite effectively. With 10 laps to go. Got movement as well with Baz back in 8th, passing Antilla. The Ferrari getting past the Romeo. Got the Haas back there as well, trying to catch up to the Red Bull towards the back of the grid. We'll be able to get it though. Go back up towards the top of the grid, we've got Mel managing to increase that gap there. Having a nice comfortable lead on the race. The Mercedes not too far behind him though. Depends on if Robsu can close that gap down to the Alpine. With the Aston as well not being too far behind. With a decent distance to the point where the Mercedes does not need to worry about him. The AlphaTauri as well, still making ground with Resurrection there. Still looking to get past the Alfa Romeo. He's definitely trying to look for the opportunity just to squeeze past the Romeo. Depends if he can find that gap in order to get through. Got Carter in 6th as well. His teammate Jimmy not being too far behind, both the Williams in 2nd and 7th there. Resurrection trying to squeeze past the Romeo. Is he going to be able to keep that position? It does not look like it. It was a good attack, but it wasn't enough. The Romeo managing to successfully defend the attack from the AlphaTauri there. Depends, is he going to be able to keep that up for the rest of the race with 8 laps to go? Back down towards the middle of the group, we've got Huntilla and Baz. Baz looking to close that gap towards Jimmy. Quite a marginal gap there. It's not massive, but it's not tiny either. Only a few drivers remaining that don't have penalties at this point. So there'll definitely be some movement within the final places of the leaderboard there. Drivers are very spread out across the track as well. COTA managing to keep that gap between him and Resurrection. Well, no, really, that gap is... it's massive. It's not massive, but it's not tiny either. It's a 2.5 second gap. Resurrection's still looking to get past that Alfa Romeo in the AlphaTauri there. So they're coming around back on the last... coming around on the last turns of Sector 3 back to Sector 1. He tries to move out, but it's not enough. Is the AlphaTauri going to be able to make it past? He's definitely looking for the opportunity. The Romeo is successfully defending most of the attacks from the AlphaTauri though. Depends how the drivers are going to do. And Mel's still sitting in a nice comfortable lead with a 4-second gap between him and Robson, and also a McLaren sitting in between them, just off at the back of the grid, is in between as he's been lapped by the Alpine there. So Robson's first needs to get past the McLaren to be able to have any chance of getting up to Melv and getting past him. The Aston won't be giving up hope, however, because the Aston can close that gap, then the penalties will do the work for him. Even then, it all depends. We'll have to wait and see. COTA currently sitting in a nice 6th with Jimmy in 7th. 2 Williams close together. With Baz though looking to find that opportunity to get past the Williams, he moves out there. Just passes the Williams on the inside. He's trying to keep that inside line as they go through into turn 1. The Ferrari passes the Williams. Williams are putting in a good performance today though. Just depends on how they're going to be able to keep it up. Resurrection and the AlphaTauri, they're still trying to look to make ground on the Romeo in 4th. Be a difficult one for sure. And he always takes it though on the turn after the straight. Slight contact there with the Romeo going up the back of the AlphaTauri there. And now COTA so now be able to catch up in the Williams. The AlphaTauri now up to 4th. It's going to need to look to chase down the Aston. The Williams though now closing that gap to the Romeo there. Williams might be looking at the COTA and the Williams are looking to possibly get past the Alfa Romeo there. There's only 3 drivers without penalties in this race. That means Sheepers, Resurrection and Baz. Those 3 will definitely take advantage of that. Especially as the penalties do build up on some of the drivers. It's a challenge, but they are managing to fight through it, especially with the weather conditions here. With a inter-whole race. Resurrection in 4th, still. He's not going to have the time with only 4 laps to go. He's not really going to have the time to chase down the Aston, making it a bit more difficult for him. But if he can get it, that will be a amazing position gain for the AlphaTauri driver, and help him further his lead, or further how close he is to the Mercedes, which is currently at the top of the driver standings, with Robson being on top. We'll also try to close that gap with AlphaTauri on the constructor standings as well. Sheepers in 3rd as well right now for Aston. Williams, we've got Jimmy in the Williams back in 8th. So Baz had that overtake. The gap has slowly started to form between the 2 cars. San is disqualified from the session. It's a bit of a sorry state of affairs for the Aston. It's not a great one for them. Braden also being disqualified from the session. Leaving Ferrari's only hope now down to Baz. Now seeing the Williams there, COTA in 6th, trying to gain some ground on that Alfa Romeo that's currently ahead of him. Resurrection still trying to close that gap to the Aston there. Robso currently so far behind that Melv currently holds a very comfortable lead, even with the penalties. So yeah. It's an interesting one for sure, whether that the Alpine there is going to be able to keep that lead. Even he has a monstrous lead on the Mercedes that has second, so there is quite a good chance for him to keep that lead. Just got to hope to keep that gap large so that the penalties will work in his favour, rather than push him down. Now the penalty is currently standing out. Yeah, with that 3-second penalty, he's easily going to be able to hold that position. Now entering lap 27. 2 laps to go for the Alpine driver there. Yeah. What is it? The AlphaTauri, they're still trying to close in on the Aston. Just managed to shrink that gap, but they were able to keep it that way and get even closer to him. Within 2 laps is quite a task at hand. Robsu as well, holding his position comfortably even with penalties. Jimmy with the 18-second time penalty there. Should be careful not to get himself disqualified there. Baz up to 7th, as well as COTA sitting in at 6th. That gap there with Robson means that Baz is going to be able to move that gap. No, that gap with COTA means that Baz will get that position gained. Possibly even get a position gained on BR as well, because of those time penalties there. The time penalties are playing the drivers out today. Not a great one for them at all. As we now head into the final lap, with the Alpine there still holding a very comfortable lead. Just depends if the Alpine looks like he's going to be able to keep it up for the remainder of the race. Now comes around towards the final turn. Crosses the line, taking that nice victory for Mel there. What an outstanding performance from the driver there today. Robsu taking the second position. There's the move around with the penalties. The rest of the drivers now come in to finish off their race there. All right. It's an amazing performance from most of the drivers out today. Melv taking the win at the Texas Grand Prix for the sprint race. Take a look at our final standings for the race today. Melv taking first place in the Alpine with Robson in second. The Aston with Sheepers in third, Resurrection in fourth, and the AlphaTauri. Baz in fifth with Ferrari. BGR in sixth, COTA in seventh with Hugh in eighth. Jimmy sitting in ninth, Huntilla in 10th, with Harinator in 11th, Nico taking 12th, Luke in 13th, Nerfpack in 14th, Soft taking 15th, then 8-Bit in 16th with DNF, San in 17th with a disc squall, and Braden in 18th with a disc squall. It's an amazing performance of the drivers there. Unfortunately, I can say there's going to be no post-race interviews for today, as I unfortunately cannot, as I do not have the time. So, thank you all for watching the round 8 of the Tier 2 Championship with BRL. And we'll be back next week for... I can't remember which race it is for next week. Next week is Japan. So, take care everyone, and I will see you then.